Rachel, thank you so much for joining the Nonstop Nonprofit Podcast. How are you today?
I'm doing awesome. Thanks for having me as your guest.
Absolutely. Thank you. How has AFP been going for you?
It's fantastic. It's great to see everybody in person and tons of great energy here in Vegas. Lots of great sessions.
Absolutely. How you had 2 sessions yesterday. What were the topics that you're...
So I kicked off with Chirian Koshi and Tammy Zonker with what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, our biggest fundraising fails and how we survive them.
Love it.
And it was awesome. Tons of vulnerability and inspiration and humor. And then the next session that I did was with Rachel Clemens from Mighty Citizen, and it was winning fundraising campaigns that hit the fundraising jackpot. And it was a pure 75 minutes of eye candy fundraising campaigns that worked to inspire and get people, excited about what they can do. And lots of for-profit examples, too.
Yeah.
Really great customer-centric marketing.
I need to ask about both the failures and the successes here.
Yeah.
So tell me about some of the... I'm a big fan, so I think actually, failures is a great thing. Because if we learn from it, we can improve and get better. I'm a big fan of trying to fail as fast as you can instead of prolonging the failure. But what have been some of the failures, or what were some of the failures that you all discussed?
There were so many hilarious ones. My friend Lynn Wester, who fundraising donor guru, she's amazing. She shared one where she accidentally fed a donor potpourri. That was pretty hilarious. I shared one where I confused capacity with generosity, and I went in and asked a donor for much too large of a gift without properly cultivating them beforehand. Never made that mistake again. But I will say, regardless of the mistake, mistakes are what makes us human, and sharing your mistakes with your staff is what makes you warm and relatable and allows everyone to not make that mistake again.
Yeah.
And one of my very favorite discovery questions when I'm with a donor to ask is, what's your favorite mistake? And I encourage people to think about, what's your favorite mistake? Because, for most fundraisers would say, oh my God, I solicited a gift. And then they said, oh, well, I make my giving decisions with my partner, wife, husband, best friend, psychic, 12-year-old son. And you won't make that mistake again. But what's your favorite mistake can be a really great opportunity to learn from others. We're embarrassed about the mistakes we made, but it's that vulnerability that makes us attractive to other people.
Yeah.
It's what makes us human and what makes other people drawn to us.
Totally. Much more authentic.
Exactly.
Yeah. On the winning side, best campaigns, that's the eye candy that you mentioned.
Yeah.
What were some of the highlights?
Yeah. So one of those that is so fantastic and everyone died laughing and it's a toilet paper company and it's called Who Gives a Crap. And they did this crowdfunding campaign to get started, and they called it the Sit Down. And the founder was literally sitting on a toilet until he raised $50,000.
Wow!
It worked.
It was like a lockdown on the toilet.
Lockdown on the toilet.
Interesting.
Hilarious. But what's great, and I encourage everyone check out WhoGivesACrap.org. It's a B Corp. And what they do is 50% of the profits go to develop sanitation projects and latrines in developing countries. So, so many people in the world are living without access to clean toilets, and it causes all kinds of diseases that can be easily prevented. And so they literally give away 50% of their profits. But what's really special and unique about them that everyone can steal is their customer-centric marketing. Their marketing is immediately they make you feel like a donor from the get-go.
Oh, wow.
The auto email response is, congratulations, Rachel, you just did a great thing. You're saving people in the developing world right now while you go potty. And then they just go on and on. It's joke after joke, but it's also they ask you all these really great survey questions to get to know you.
Yeah, it sounds like it's very engaging.
Very engaging.
Yeah.
The last question is, are you a folder or a scruncher? So it's hilarious, and everyone can learn how to think about the donor journey or your constituent journey from their marketing.
Yeah.
So that's just one really great example, but there were tons of great examples.
On that, like, it sounded like there was like a lot of humor a part of like this campaign. Nonprofits are normally pretty serious.
Yeah.
So do you think that nonprofits can incorporate more humor into their fundraising and appeals and just overall donor engagement?
Okay, this is a great question. And so to speak to that, I want to share a totally free tip, totally free tool that's an endless point of great inspiration, and that is Humans of New York on Facebook. Because every day, Humans of New York, and obviously you're following them, they share a news story about someone. They have an attention-grabbing headline. That person's vulnerable. They're sharing their story, and whether it's like a gay teen coming out to their intolerant parents, or, you know, a vet who's suffering from PTSD, you are bought into that story and you want to know what happens next.
Yeah.
So I would say, but I think the biggest thing about Humans of New York is the vulnerability and the authenticity. Not every nonprofit can pull off humor.
Yeah.
Some nonprofits can, and they can be cheeky and they can be silly and they can make fun of themselves. And that can be a great way to endear yourself, to get your emails opened. Some nonprofits can't, but all nonprofits can use vulnerability and authenticity. And that's what fundraising is. I mean, at the end of the day, all fundraising is a quest for empathy. And if you're not being vulnerable, and if you're not sharing stories that, you know, draw me in and include conflict, why would I care? I mean, the whole goal is to make me feel something.
Yeah.
All that. You have to use empathy and emotion in fundraising. You're not being manipulative to do it. You're being smart, because it's all that works.
Totally. I helped build an organization called Invisible Children back in my fundraising days.
Oh my goodness!
And we
amazing organization.
Yeah, it was a very fun season of life. But we had when we talked about like creating like media or campaigns, we had a rule. We called it our golden rule, and it was make people laugh before they cry.
Yeah.
And the reason why we did that is we felt like if we could get you to laugh, like we did something that bought you in.
For
we
sure.
built trust. And then when we get really heavy on like talk about like the real problem, you know, we have this like sort of trust established. Obviously you can't do it. Good. You can't do it with every campaign or every piece of media that you create. And every cause may not be may not be super.
But you can do it, and you can do it in unexpected ways. I remember seeing an ad for Planned Giving that was a zoo, and it had a picture, a close-up of two elephants' butts. Like it's like you're walking behind the elephants and all you can see is their butts. And it said, "Will you leave a little bit behind?" And it's like, that's funny.
Yeah.
And you know, and I saw another one that was this guy in this, like 40-year-old guy looks kind of like Weird Al Yankovic. Obnoxious velvet suit, just looks like a crazy person, just dressed like a nut. And it says, "Leave a charity in your will or estate. Be the eccentric uncle you wish you were."
Yeah.
It's like, be that eccentric, like, rich uncle wearing like a velvet Gucci suit. Why not?
Yeah.
So I think you can have fun. And even with a mission that's really heavy, you can still, there are opportunities to be playful.
Yeah.
And there are always opportunities to be vulnerable, making fun of yourself, we're all human. And one of the examples that I actually shared in the worst mistakes was one from one of my clients. I have a membership program called the League of Extraordinary Fundraisers, and one of my members in my program, and this has happened to a lot of nonprofits, there's a data glitch, right? Did that ever happen to you? A data glitch?
Oh, yeah.
It happens, right?
Oh, totally.
And, the letter was addressed to, Alex, but it didn't say "Dear Alex." It said "Dear Rachel." And so Alex is opening this letter and is like, wait, what? She did an oops campaign. She did oops email. She did a really cute oops postcard with a photo of a kid, which is what they're serving.
Yeah.
Making a oops face, like a face like she just made a really big blunder. She raised more money from that appeal. She had donors calling her on the phone, telling her, "Don't worry about it. Stuff happens. It's fine." I mean, she raised like almost $40,000 more
wow.
money. She had a better open rate, and she developed a lot of new relationships and strengthened other relationships because she came out in front of it and said, I messed up.
Yeah, just acknowledged it head on.
And she also did a really great job of integrating what happened back into her mission. And she said, I want to reassure you that your dad is safe. Just like the kids are safe thanks to you supporting Idaho Youth Ranch.
Yeah.
Just genius.
Yeah. She got ahead of it, addressed it in a humorous way, but also took it serious and said, hey, don't worry, your dad is safe. Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah.
I realized I probably should have done this up front, but I didn't ask you to share a little bit more about yourself, your story, and a little bit more about your business.
Yeah, so my background is in nonprofits. I started a nonprofit called Girl Start to empower girls in math, science, engineering, and technology when I was 26 with $500 on a credit card and raised $10 million. And now Girl Start is about to turn 25 years old.
Wow.
But what I do is I do consulting for nonprofits. I have a membership where I teach nonprofits, and I do a lot of training and speaking. The session that I mentioned, in case anyone wants to grab this, on the fundraising examples, I made a download, and people can grab it at rachelmuir.com/jackpot. But it has all the examples that we shared. Cool. And links to some of them. Some of them were videos.
Yeah.
Like the Who Gives a Crap.
Yeah.
But there are examples from all over the world, and we also have the results in there, too, of how those campaigns did.
Got it. Awesome. What is the next 7 months as we round out 2022, which is crazy that we're almost halfway through it? What are you excited about? Any projects you're working on or campaigns that you're helping launch?
Well, I think the most exciting thing for me is that travel is back, and it's really nice to see people and reconnect with people, and it's been a really long time in lockdown, and so it's really nice just like things coming back, and I feel like it's not just, there's this fundraising conference, but also for nonprofits, and I think I'm also excited about some of the things that we learned. Like, I feel like there are lots of positives of organizations going out of their comfort zone and learning how to do things like video email and using texting for stewardship and lots of other things that we did in the pandemic that I hope will continue to be technology tools that people use moving forward.
Absolutely. Yeah. There was an acceleration of tech adoption in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And I hope that it continues and nonprofits, take that and continue to build on top of it. Because I think we saw a lot of really great innovation. And I hope it doesn't get left behind.
Absolutely.
We've got some rapid fire questions now for you.
Okay.
So there's no wrong answer.
Okay.
Movies. Are you a movies or series person?
Both. Both. But I mean, right now I'm totally watching Ozark.
Okay.
So no spoilers because I haven't, I guess, and Better Call Saul's final season.
Yeah.
So, I miss movies. I miss like going
to the theater.
Yeah. I haven't done that yet.
I feel like there hasn't been like any great movies lately.
Stuff didn't get released because
people weren't going to theaters.
Yeah.
Tacos or cheeseburgers?
Definitely tacos. I'm from Texas. I'm from Austin, Texas. Tacos, tacos are like an entire food group along with queso. Those are two separate food
that
groups.
Sounds so good right now.
And then margaritas.
Yeah. Oh, queso. I didn't have lunch today, so that just made me more hungry. Digital reading or an actual book?
I actually like an actual book in my hands. I like the whole experience of like having
hardcover or soft cover.
I'm happy with either. I usually end up with a hardcover because it's like something I want to get right away. One of the best books I read recently was The Midnight Library, and it's a fascinating book about like that explores kind of different options of like that movie Sliding Doors with Gwyneth Paltrow in the 90s of like, what if you'd chosen a different path? What would your life have been like now?
Interesting.
And it's a library where you can go and like check out other paths of your life.
Yeah, interesting. You said you finished it or you just started it?
Yeah, no, I finished it. I couldn't stop reading it. I couldn't put it down.
That sounds fascinating. Ice cream or froyo?
Oh my gosh. I love them both. I like froyo with moochies.
Okay.
I like the moochies.
Congratulations, you're the first person to say froyo today.
Sweet.
Yeah, so you are unique. Football or football?
Oh my gosh, I totally am not a sports person. I literally just watch the Super Bowl for the commercials, and I'm not ashamed to admit it.
I am exactly the same. The only reason why sports is on at my house is a friend comes over to watch sports, but not a sports person. Okay, last one, Moana or Aladdin?
Moana.
Moana, nice. Nice. You can't. I mean, it's not a classic yet because it's only been out for a couple years, but I can watch it over and over.
Have you seen Encanto?
Oh yeah.
So good.
Oh yeah. Our kids love it, and it is a tearjerker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The music's amazing.
Thank you so much for joining.
Thanks for having me.
Look forward. We gotta bring you on for a longer episode.
Yeah, I'm
where
all
we
over
can
it.
kind of dig into something more topical. But thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.